Hey everyone, hope all of you are doing great. So I am back again with one more video. So this video is about re-greasing concept of your Interceptor or a GT650. So recently I started feeling some resistance from the concept. So I thought let me open it up and we'll re-grease it. So without wasting time, let's get it started. Now as you can see, I have removed everything, front fork and wheel assembly, brake caliper and wheel speed sensor. Now let's remove triple tree clamp. So to remove triple clamp, you have to lose this top yoke hex nut, and then after we will need 10 mm hex bit. So I am having that and will remove it. So let's lose this nut first. And now we will need a 10 mm Allen hex bit. So I am having this. You can get it from any aftermarket accessory shop. And now lose this first. There is good number of threads, so you have to work a little bit. जिसका डर था वो ही हुआ, जिसका डर था वो ही हुआ. But no worry. As such, there won't be any issue. Dust cap, then washer, and then bearing. So you can see the condition of bearing. Almost rust आना चालू हो गया था. On the cup also you can see a slight of it is being rusted. You may need this kind of a T-spanner. तो आप यहाँ पे उसको लगा सकते हो. So your handlebar will stay on its position like this. And then after you can work on the rest of the parts. I'm opening it up exactly after 1.5 years. So let's see what is the condition. So you can see there is a amount of grease is still on the roller bearing, but some part of it started rusting. So what we will do, we will clean this triple tree and we will re-grease it with suitable grease. Taper roller bearing on the top. So here also you can see it started rusting. So I think next time I have to replace it. So for cleaning, I am having a few options with me. Not having a dedicated chain cleaner or other stuff, but I am having one de-rust, so that can be used to remove rust, and then contact cleaner. So what we will do, first we will use de-rust, so it will remove all the rust from the triple cone bearing, and then after we will use contact cleaner, so which will dry in 5 to 10 minutes, and then after we will re-grease it. So let's start it. I forgot to wear this. This is very important thing, because if you are dealing with harsh chemicals, then you definitely need a safety for your hands and your eyes. So now I am good to go. So let me apply degreaser and de-rust solution on the taper roller bearing up top. So this is basically a escape bearing. Earlier I have used NTN bearing, but I was disappointed with the performance of NTN bearing. It didn't last even for 6 months. So generally NTN is a good brand, but the only thing that I can sense, it may be the old stock, and that might be the only reason for a premature failure of it. So you can see the rust just started to build up. So I think this was the right time. I open it up for the re-greasing purpose, and we will examine if any deformity is there or not. So as such, I am not finding any deformity. You can see how much of dirt is coming out of it. This top cap. Yes, it is offering some resistance, but still it is good to go for 8 to 12 months. So we will replace it after 1 year. Meanwhile, let me apply one more layer of contact cleaner. Now you can see it is rolling freely. So I have removed a majority of the dust and dirt from the inside structure of the bearing. Meanwhile, we can clean a neck area. So let's do it. This is the issue. Yes. ये थोड़ा हैंडल बार होल्ड करना प्रॉब्लमेटिक है. Now here you can see cup is also showing some sign of rusting. So let us clean it. Okay, this is the cup. You can see it then. So you check uneven wear and tear on the internal surface of the cup also. If cup is damaged, then even intact bearing won't help you. Anyhow, you have to replace both. So it is clean, perfectly great. So I was talking about this diameter. If you frequently replacing your one set bearing, then this diameter may increase, and in that case it will be very difficult. You have to change the entire chassis only. So whenever you are doing this work, just pay sufficient attention. कहीं पे भी मत करवाओ, मतलब जो बंदा knowledgeable है उसके पास ही ये काम करवाओ. And I would suggest better you do it at Royal Enfield workshop only, because they are having proper tools. One more bearing brand is there in the market. You can get FAG Sapler bearing also. I found it good on quality compared to these SKF and NTN bearing. So next time my change will be a Sapler FAG bearing, means peg bearing. You can see all mud and dust particles are coming out. So now you can see it is shining like a new one. I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but here you can see there is some sign of rust. So I think this was the right time. I open it for re-greasing purpose. So at least I am good to go for another 8 to 12 months. So let's keep it aside and then we will re-grease it. Now as far as re-greasing is concerned, so Royal Enfield has recommended NLGI 2 grade of grease. So let me give you some idea. So NLGI 1 grade, so it is very thin in nature, means less viscous. Then NLGI 2 grade, so you can compare it with the peanut butter. So it is slightly viscous and more thicker compared to NLGI 1. And NLGI 3 grease, so this is basically NLGI 3 grease. You can see MP stands for multi-purpose grease 3. So which is having a slightly thicker consistency, like a vegetable shortening. So you can see this is a thick grease. And here one more twist. RE has recommended not to apply any kind of grease on this taper roller bearing. Instead, what they have suggested, you should apply grease on the surface of internal cup. But generally, what people do, so they fill these bearings with a lot of grease, and then even though they are not using NLGI 2 grease, so this is NLGI 3 grease specifically for wheel and other rotating bearing. So more grease, it will produce more resistance, and ultimately this may sound funny, but more grease sometimes fail your bearing. So that's why always use a recommended grade of grease. So here what I'm doing, basically our main purpose is pre-rotation and it should not catch any kind of rust. So we will apply anti-rust solution on surface of this bearing, and then after we will apply some grease also on both bearing as well as on the internal cup, and then after we will reassemble everything. So I am not having NHGI 3 grease, and I won't be using this thick grease on the taper roller bearing or on the cup itself. So what I will do, I am having this TVS grilling grease, which is basically a brake caliper grease, but it is having a slightly less viscosity compared to this wheel bearing grease. So we will be using this TVS brake caliper pin grease on the bearing, and we will reassemble all the things. So let's start it. So first we will start with the bearing of the top side. So let me apply some de-rust solution on it. This is not a WD-40. I got this from Mr. DIY. So basically it's a lubricating solution which will prevent rust, and it may not be used for cleaning rust, but definitely it can prevent rust. So I have applied one layer of de-rust spray on bearing, and now we will be re-greasing it. So this grease I was talking about. So let me show you. So you can see the composition. It is light grease which won't attract much dust particle, and it will stay on its place because it is a fully waterproof grease. So this is the TVS brake caliper pin grease. So let us apply it on the bearing itself. So generally we have to re-grease these rollers only, because they are the moving part, rotating part in this entire structure. But as per human tendency, we will re-grease the other sides also. So always use a recommended grease, because आप लोग grease use कर रहे हो to make movement free, but ultimately it may become the source of resistance, and at the same time it can fail your mechanical part also. So I think this is more than sufficient grease, because we have already applied anti-rust solution on it. So let's reassemble it. So if you are doing it at home, then you remember the order. So this will go downwards, means in a taper part will be on downside. On top of it, this will be the additional dust cap, and finally you can install this. Okay, let us do same thing for triple tree also. So you can see I have cleaned it properly. Bearing rotates without any resistance, and now it is time to re-grease it. So let us apply very thin layer of anti-rust spray first, something like this. Make sure to cover all the sides. Wow. Now it is even rotating more freely. You can see. The whole purpose is do not over grease it. Otherwise, you are using grease to prevent rusting or to prevent any kind of resistance. But ultimately, the thicker grease will be the reason for it. I think if I apply this spray, then even I don't need to re-grease it again. But we'll be doing it, very thin layer of grease on it. So we'll be using same grease. Superb. So you can see rotation is absolutely smooth. So you do not need to apply more amount of grease on it, because this grease is waterproof in nature, and which will prevent any kind of corrosion as well as the rusting, because we have applied anti-rust solution also. So it's fine. Now where you can apply this thick grease. So this is triple clamp rod. It is definitely prone to corrosion as well as the rusting. So you can definitely use a thicker grease on the surface of this rod. So let me apply a little bit on it. Just don't overfill it. Just a thin layer. Okay, so it is fully covered with the grease. Now let us wait for a few minutes, and then we will reinstall, and then we will reassemble everything. Now to reinstall this triple clamp back into the chassis neck, you may need some help from your friend. So I am waiting for one friend. I have called him. So let's see. If he comes, then we will be installing these triple tree clamp back into the chassis. So let's wait for some time. मत पकड़ेगा करो. सही है, चल लगाई दे खाली टेम्पररी मूकी दे. Now company recommends applying 8 Newton meter torque over this top yoke bolt, but as I am not having a ratchet type of system, so I am having this manual torque wrench. So we'll try to apply 8 to 10 Newton meter of torque on it. So let's do it. So now it is 8 Newton meter. You can see the marker is just before 10 Newton meter mark. So let's stop it here. We'll fine tune if it is required there. Then tight all these torque bolts. So generally 2 bolts will be there, each 2 on each side, 1, 2 and 3 and 4. So Royal Enfield recommends 20 Newton meter torque, but as I am not having a torque wrench, so I will be just hand tightening it. So let's see. Now time to tight these headlight clamps. So Royal Enfield recommend 58 mm distance between lower triple tree, that is this one, and headlight clamp. So we'll be doing something like this. I won't be able to show you because no one is there to record video. So let me tight it and then I will show you the other parts. Now this will be the indication if you have aligned headlight clamp correctly or not. So you can easily move or loose or tight these headlight clamp bolts with your hand on both the side. So it does mean your headlight clamp, this one and this one, are exactly on the same length. So now we have reinstalled everything, and now we are doing the fork alignment. So it is a very simple method. So I will show you how to do it. So what you need to do, just hide these 3 bolts of top yoke, 1, 2 and 3, and the rest everything on the bottom part it will be loose, and then you have to give a motorcycle CPR. So just hold your handlebar from the center and push it downward for 15 to 20 times, so your forks will be aligned, and then after you can tight everything. So something like this. Hold your handlebar in a straight in center position and then give 15 to 20 downward push. Don't do this thing on the center stand because it won't give you an accurate result. So that's it. Now we will really reinstall all the things and our bike is ready to go. So this is how it looks after the completion of work. So I have installed everything back, and this is time for fine tuning cone set alignment, whether it is too tight or too loose. So I will take one small test ride, and then after I will fine tuning cone set alignment. Now one interesting thing I would like to show you. Now I have lube cone set, right? But here you can see you won't find any unwanted traces of grease. So make sure whenever you are doing such kind of things, so do it as per the manufacturer's recommendation. So now my motorcycle is ready. I have assembled everything and took a small test ride also. So as of now I feel everything is fine, but if I think there is slightly some play on cone set stem yoke, then I will be going to RESC, and वहाँ पे उनके पास वो torque range रहता है 8 न्यूटन मीटर का, तो I will be using that. Only one mistake that I made. So as I mentioned earlier, these fork getters are the new design fork getter, and I thought these clamps or clips won't be of any use. So I removed them, and now top portion of getter is not staying on the pipe itself. Here also the same thing. तो मैं क्या करूँगा कि मेरे पास ये अभी तो जिप टाई है, तो आई विल टाई इट अराउंड ईयर, एंड जब नेक्स्ट टाइम मैं फोर्क ऑयल चेंज करूँगा तो उस टाइम पे आई विल बी इंस्टॉलिंग दिस clamps also. And brakes are working fine, and handlebar become butter smooth. Let me show you. So it is rotating freely on both the side, and there is no axial or vertical play on the steering stem. So I think it's done. So you can see handlebar movement is absolutely butter smooth. It's just moving like a butter. So mission completed. Now the next I will be lubing these acceleration cables. So stay tuned for more video. I will get back with more content. So yes, it is a lengthy as well as a tedious process, but if you are doing it by your own, then it will be giving you immense pleasure. So up till if you are watching this video, then do consider to subscribe, and I will be bringing such automotive content for you. Till then, ride safe and take care.